So, Prehospital subspecialty in Finland. That's me, Markku Grönroos, and my younger colleague went to Doha, and he asked me to recommend him. So he created these for me. I think they are a bit like they should be. So contents, a few words about me, subspecialty, what is FinHEMS, and conclusions. I graduated as an MD in 2007, and even before that was possible. At that time in Finland, I did, let's say, ton loads of on-call shifts around Western Finland. There was no EPs back then. And it became very clear that acute care was my thing. And then I waited. I almost could have been in another fellowship, but I waited till 2012. And then I started the residency in emergency medicine in Hämeenlinna Central Hospital and also in Tampere University Hospital. And because of things, I had interest in pre-hospital services, and there was no one at that post then, so my supervisor thought that, okay, pre-hospital service is your thing, so here's a place for you, and I did the chief physician post together with the senior anesthesiologist since 2014, and soon after that also with a land unit in Hämeenlinna area in EMS physician. Also, I have a big and great interest in stroke, also in simulation, and in 2016 I graduated as a EP, one of the first in Finland, and then I got back to the Hämeenlinna and then made a permanent post of that chief physician. Then few years after that, it was possible for us EPs to become subspecialty of pre-hospital medicine training. So I went there, and my instructor said that so you are an EP, so you have to have a bit more experience, and that meant 3 months of ICU training at University Hospital, mainly neurosurgical patients. That was very, very fun. So, and I did helicopter EMS practice 1 year in 2022, and I graduated 23, and I'm still working there. Like this. I'm 50% in Kanta-Häme Central Hospital, still on-call shifts in ED, and those pre-hospital daytime shifts 1 or 2 per week. And of course, research, doctoral thesis in stroke, and the other half is in pre-hospital service in helicopter. So sometimes I feel like this, 24 hours isn't enough. But in Finland, traditionally EP, that wasn't a possibility because there was no EPs, but of course it was for anesthesiologists, and they realized that EPs are quite good with critically ill patients. Wonder why. So nowadays in Finland you have some educational requirements for that. Of course, the anesthesia or emergency medicine. No another specialist can be that. You have to then go to the person in charge in university, and he or she will interview you. Of course, your experience, scientific merit is always a plus thing in university. Learning capacity, cooperation skills, and suitability for the job, they are all required. And then some psychological tests, and that worked somehow. I went there, of course, without you can prepare for that, and I mistakenly take one job there, but I'm still here. So, and the training, it will last 2 years. Theory is 60 hours in 5 modules, because 5 university hospitals in Finland, and practical training 2 years, and then final exam. You can have the final exam after the modules if you want to. It can be done twice per year. You can do that twice, and then you have to do something with the supervisor. It's not. I think it was more, for me at least, it was more difficult than the EP final exam. There's only 3 hours time than 6 hours in EP. So the theory, what it is. The university hospitals will decide who will teach what, and we go with the 2 days in those cities, and then we'll learn something. Like this is the basic one: dispatch center, EMS system, basic pre-hospital skills, then pre-hospital decision making, diagnostic tools and teamwork, then dealing with specific situations, tactics, cooperation with the authorities. Then for these teams common to the critical care and pre-hospital medicine, they are our best friends in the hospitals usually. And then the last one is exceptional circumstances, major accidents, disaster preparedness, CBRNE, and a state of emergency. And also, a lot of us will work as a chief physician of pre-hospital services. It takes about 1 year to take these. So, how about the practical training? That takes at least 2 years, and at least 1 year in university pre-hospital service. That means FINHEMS in helicopter, and this is quite popular. As I showed earlier, I waited for 3 years to go there. And 1 year of central hospital district EMS can be included, but not all hospitals can do that. And instructor has to be specialized in pre-hospital medicine. Of course, it always happens in university, but not always in central hospital district areas, because there are quite few of us. Okay. Then FINHEMS. That's the in policy of, and it's now funded by government nowadays, but the doctors are in by county. And we reach 70% of Finns in 30 minutes of an hour with our helicopters. We have 7 bases, and one is now I think it's ready next year in Kouvola. We have a little smaller helicopters in south, like in here, and a bit bigger easy 145s in north. And hey, Volvos with our land units. And with the easy 135s, what do we do when we are on the call? We have, of course, pilot. someone has to guide that thing. And then we have the HCM, HEMS crew member, as we say. He or she is a nurse. He or she is specialized in EMS, but it's a nurse thing, and they are, I think they are best of the best in nurses, and of course doctor. On the northern copters there are 2 pilots. It's a bit bigger. I think I have a picture here. Yeah.
I think in Sweden we have some cooperation with Norway.
Yeah.
Along the border. Do you have any cooperation?
Yes, we do. Is it Umeå is right about here? Yeah. Yeah, we do. Of course, we do, especially around in northern part of. No. Who? No, they are. It's so hard nowadays to fly in here because the GPS isn't working. Wonder why. But what it is when you start training, of course you have this aviation law and things. Doctors are medical passengers. We sit back. We have safety regulations, aviation regulations, and then we go through with emergency while flying. And that just changed that HUET. That used to be once per year or once per year and a half, but now it's only once because that's not. I'll show you what it is. And then we have this ACRM, Aeronautical Crew Resource Management. That's once per year. In practice, what docs do there, in the laws of aviation, we have to keep eyes open all the time. 6 eyes are better than 4. Especially when the helicopter goes up and down, that's the risk. We have to know how to get out of the helicopter, and if we have an emergency landing, what to do then. We have to swim. We have to know how to swim. You can't be a HEMS doctor without it. You have a lot of lakes here in Sweden. We have a lot of lakes in Finland. And we have to know how to turn the damn thing off if those pilot and HCMA they are unconscious or something like that. And we have to know how to use the emergency beacon. That's all we have to do in aviation things. No. Some of my colleagues have been in simulator and they can get it up, but not down. They crash it all the time. Nice reference. That's the HUET. Let's see how if this works. I have shown this to my colleagues, EP colleagues, that they said that they can't be helicopter doctors. I'm in there. This is my first time. Then we have to get out now. I think that's me.
He exited at a safe distance to the vehicle.
Yeah. That's you can see and feel all your fears there. But the experienced ones, they are like, and they are staying about a minute in there, so they are crazy people, those pilots. Okay, I'll show you what's my office in. I think I have next shift on Sunday. That's the one. That's that's the Seinäjoki copter. That smaller one. Usually this is the most surprising thing in this, he's about 6 foot or 180 centimeters, so when we load the patients, there's no much space there. And that's my seat. There's the all fourth seat, and there goes the patient. So there are all the catches we have, and that's now not our helicopter, but it's similar as us. Looks okay, but if you have the patient in and all the stuff, my colleague Maria, I think she's just doing some things to the airway, but we are we are not hoovering. There is not much space to do. We try to do everything before we take the patient into the helicopter. Of course, we are doing, and then we, if there is a real thing going on, then we go down. We make an emergency landing if it's possible, or landing ASAP. You can do something. Of course, you can do something with the ventilator or something with the IV, but especially trauma patient, that's very difficult. That's why we do, if we have a slightest doubt of pneumothorax, we do it before.
What space? If there is a small child and a parent, both
If it's like a year, or it depends, of course, what they need. But yeah, we can have a baby. We have a smaller, that Pedi-Mate thing. We can put it there, but we can't treat 2 patients. That's impossible. Or neither can the bigger one, that northern chopper. Okay, that's the office. Practical training is based on trainees' experience, because we come from different areas, and we could have some experience before or then not. But usually 2 to 3 weeks in the fourth seat, the newcomer will just look what the experienced doctor is doing, and then 2 weeks in the third seat as a doc, and the senior is in the fourth seat. And usually after that, independently, but also with a background support of doc. Usually he or she stays in the base and will do with a radio if he wants to consultate on something. Of course, you have to master before you come here RSI and ventilator. That's our thing. You have to have an idea of platinum 10 minutes and golden hour and tactics, but that develops when you got experience. You have to decide how to scoop and run or stay and play, you know, these terms. Yeah.
do you do thoracotomies?
We do.
Done them in the field?
Not me. It was very close last week, but no. Basic procedures, sedation, drugs, you have to know this, and you have to master your nerves, because it's quite hectic sometimes. Oh, here's an example of a third week of training and fourth week. It's quite, as you see, it's Monday, Tuesday, and so on. Medical devices, resuscitation and unconsciousness, pre-hospital laws, medevac. We do that with the army, if needed. Trauma patients and tactics with that one, and transportation with chopper. And next week, pre-hospital services locally, University Hospital ED, Usually we have been there before, but we do it anyway. Children, labor, burns, a day with the police, and again with the pre-hospital services. And we do this during the office hours while on call, except with the police. You'll be in the police car. More training, that won't stop. We have the cadaver days. We train IOs, no, not that much. Emergency tracheostomy, thoracostomy, clamshell thoracostomy. We give up Reboa because that's. Have you done it? That's impossible to do especially in the field. Then we have our own base days, team-based, some children or labor, or last month was Blue Baby was last month's theme. Then we have company days, Finhems days, which is a lot bigger, and there is a politics involved. Then we have simulations and monthly themes during shift, like field amputation was one thing. And then we do some surface rescue training. Fortunately, doc observates only. And then we do some aviation training if the time, if there's no alarms. And here's Pekka. He's HCM about 2 weeks ago. You know ice fishing. That's no stone. That's a human being. The ice was so thin that the turbulence from our rotors made the ice do like this. But he went to ice fishing. He managed on 30 degrees.
Do you do ECMO?
No. No ECMO transports. It has been thought, but I think you need a land unit for that and a team. We have a protocol for ECMO if we are in about 30 minutes time of university hospital.
Do you have space enough in the chopper for a mechanical chest compressions like Lucas?
Yeah, we do, but we have to take the mattress off. It's so tight. Bad for your back. Pekka dropped to the ice about here. This is very hard. He was so exhausted when he got there. But the fireman ran 2 minutes after this. And okay, real work. What is it? These are, of course, in Finnish, but I try to. This is Tampere-based Top 7 2022. The most common thing is lifelessness. Dispatch center decides that, and then the alarm will go up. And you can see it is X9%. It means that in 63% of those 731 patients, I have not seen the patient. You know what the... okay, there are usually two possibilities. One is that he's alive. That's a wrong alarm. Or we have a distance of that far that I can handle that by radio. Or it's already been, EMS have been there like 20 minutes and there is no response or something like that. That's the usual explanation. So compared to our base, mine are quite the same. But look at, for example, airway obstruction. 100%. They always correct themselves. Okay, if you really want to be an helicopter doctor as an EP, get yourself in so much trouble that you have to get in trouble. I mean, critically ill patients, of course, with the guidance of a senior. And then you have to do extra ICU and anesthesia, especially in Finland. Get to know EMS, that makes your life much easier. Some research won't hurt. And most of all, do what you like and like what you do. Okay, I think I'm finished. Any questions?
How are the helicopters financed? Are they like these
Government.
Okay, so it's just like state, so that they can put the helicopters in a strategic points, or is it like the local hospitals, or?
They are on airports.
Alright, yeah, but do they belong to university hospitals?
Yeah, to the district, yes.
Okay.
But they are funded by government nowadays. Some 20 years ago, it wasn't like that. Yes.
Similar question. This is very intense resources used for single individuals.
Yeah.
It must be quite a high cost for each patient. If you compare that to bulk, I mean, is it like 100 times cost?
I don't know.
To provide service for all, but still.
Yeah, I don't know the real what the real number is.
I mean, is there any discussion about how much you can afford?
Yes, it is, and now the strategy is a bit of it's changed a bit because we are now used more and more to the transfers of critically ill patients, and in about 5 or 6 years we have also not critically ill patients but time-dependent patients like stroke. We are transferring them to the university hospital, or we have only one major burn center in Helsinki. We are transferring them also, and that, of course, we want to make so much use of ourselves as possible.
What's the breakdown of primary missions versus transportation missions, secondary transfers?
Sorry, what's the?
What's the frequency? Is it 8% primary?
About that, I think so. Yeah. Okay.
Is it popular to become a HEMS doctor in Finland? Is it like difficult to get into the programs?
Yes, it is, because no 7 or 6 helicopters, and it takes 2 years, or at least 1 year. And I think if I would go now to the Helsinki to the program, I think I would be there in 6 years. That's quite a lot of time. Of course, it's not cost effective to have so much HEMS doctors in Finland, because, like you asked, I haven't done not a single thoracostomy, and if we have like a 100 HEMS doctors, what's the experience on that one?
And how did it become a subspecialty? Because here in Sweden, only a few regions have to be hospital care, but there's no subspecialty, no really regulations.
Yeah.
How did Finland manage it in such a short time?
It was that changed it in 2016 or something like that for the university, and before that it was the association with the largest it's Lääkäriliitto. Where all the doctors belong to the one medical association. before 2016 that was a subspecialty of that, but they changed it to the university now. And I don't know how that it has been as long as I remember, since I think since the 90s when the first helicopters came into Finland. They started at because the other doctors they don't do anything like that. They say I'm the real doctor in there. They are just doing that. I'm doing also the shifts in the ED, so I'm very lucky, I think.
It's strange that never happened to Sweden because I mean the first medical helicopters in Stockholm started in the 60s already, or even
Yeah.
the 50s. Never really led to a development of a subspecialty.
Yeah, you have to really start pushing that now.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
It's interesting in the U.S. most of the helicopters are staffed by one paramedic and one nurse.
Yeah.
So it's rare to have a physician on a helicopter.
Yeah.
Some programs do have them as part of the team, but mostly it's paramedics and nurses.
Yeah.
In Stockholm, they had doctors until some 10 years ago. Then they removed them, and now just this year they reintroduced them to the helicopters again. But at the same time, there are doctors in the helicopters in the other regions, Sweden and the west. While southern third of Sweden does not have any medical helicopters at all.
Yes. And this 7th or 8th base in Kouvola, that's a political decision because every Finn have to have an equal right to services. So we should have bigger helicopters, but that's not cost effective. Like in Norway, they can order like a jumbo jet. Oil money. Okay, any more questions? Okay, thank you.